Olivia, that's all you get. You owe me $700 for the dumplings. At Karen's birthday celebration, a gathering I had never been invited to before, that's what Lily told me. In front of me, there was just a single dumpling. Pointing at it as if feeding a pet, Lily said with a laugh, "Here you go." Karen, the elementary schooler, seemed to be in on the joke too, laughing at me. Mother and daughter, both mocking me with the same demonic grin, completely extinguished any affection I had for my granddaughter. "I've had enough. I'll just pay the bill and head home," I said, standing up. Lily, still smiling, waved me off dismissively, disappointed in Jack, who wouldn't even meet my eyes. If they wanted to celebrate with just their immediate family of 3, that's fine by me. I was willing to pay, but with that attitude, any desire to celebrate had long since vanished. No matter what they say, I'm never getting involved again, I thought irritably as I went to settle the bill. Then someone tapped my shoulder. Hearing her words, I decided to get back at Lily and her family. "I'm Olivia. This year, I turned 65. Blessed with children, I've led a normal life. Though my husband was always focused on his work and not much of a talker, I believed we had a good relationship. I thought my life was without major upheaval, but there was one thing that troubled me. It was Lily, my eldest son's wife. I understand that it's common for wives and mothers-in-law to not get along. However, Lily's attitude of treating me as an enemy just for being the mother-in-law was causing me trouble. Olivia, you're always free at home, right? Let me do you a favor and take care of your cute grandchild." "Lily, I have plans today. I told you I can't do last-minute favors, remember?" "I never heard that. Maybe you just think you told me." I never knew what set her off, but Lily always had a harsh attitude towards me. She'd call suddenly or come over unannounced, dumping tasks on me without caring about my plans. Even if I helped, she'd never thank me, saying, "A parent should naturally do that much." But if I refused, she'd condemn me as some terrible villain. Lately, I've been finding excuses not to comply with her demands. Yet, Lily would confront me, labeling me as a heartless person, accusing me of treating her poorly or not loving my grandchild. Lily seemed to truly despise me. The final straw was when Karen, my granddaughter, started elementary school and I was taking care of her after school. "Grandma, you're mean to Mom, aren't you?" "What? No, why would you say that?" "That's what Mom says. You always lie and say you don't. Liar. Mom was crying. You should apologize." Apparently, Lily had been telling Karen that I was mean to her, and I was confronted with such accusations from Karen. I had no idea what she was talking about and tried to get the details from Karen. But Karen, seemingly taking Lily's words at face value, just kept calling me a liar, making it impossible to have a conversation. I couldn't understand why Lily would manipulate such a young child to dislike me. With no idea what to do or what was even happening, I was at my wit's end. When I talked to my husband, his response was just, "She's a child. She probably doesn't understand yet." He didn't seem too concerned. Consulting my eldest son, Jack, was no better. His cold reply was, "Handle your own problems. Probably just tense around the mother-in-law, worrying about being ordered around because she's the wife." I would never do that. It's unbearable being targeted with such hostility. "So what am I supposed to say? Should I tell her to be nicer to Mom? If I do that, it'll look like I'm siding with Mom, and things will become even more strained between us." It's not about taking sides. If she dislikes me, I want to know why. If she wants nothing to do with me, she should keep her distance. Try to understand how it feels to be reluctantly asked for favors. "She's the mother of your beautiful grandchild, Mom. Can't you just compromise a little?" Jack's policy of non-intervention always seemed to side with Lily. No matter how much I pleaded, it felt like he was just brushing me off, telling me to endure it. At times, I couldn't help but vent to my close friends about these issues. Yet, their responses were always something like, "That's how sons' wives are." and I continued to struggle without finding a solution. Even when advised to keep my distance, it was always Lily who initiated contact. Whether I listened to her calmly or subtly rejected her, I found myself at a loss dealing with an unsatisfied Lily. During this time, I was informed by Lily about celebrating Karen's 10th birthday at a famous Chinese restaurant. Despite sending gifts for every celebration, including birthdays, I had never received a word of thanks from my eldest son's family. Instead, I was met with remarks like, "Olivia, you have no taste. It's better if you just give us cash." Naturally, I had never been invited to any of their celebration gatherings. After being told not to interfere with family events, I had refrained from getting involved. Karen's birthday celebration is at her favorite Chinese restaurant. You're coming too, right, Olivia? May I ask why you're inviting me this time? You're Karen's grandmother. It's not strange for you to come, right? Despite the usual attitude from Lily, her words made me suspect something unpleasant. Still, if I didn't go, I would surely be blamed for not attending my granddaughter's birthday. After much thought, I decided to attend the celebration. Although I had a bad feeling, part of me hoped that maybe they were trying to mend our relationship. If my suspicions turned out to be true, I would stop involving myself with them. With that thought, I went to the Chinese restaurant on the appointed day. But as expected, my faint hope was immediately betrayed. Lily and her family, waiting for me, looked at me and sneered with malice. "Look! There's shark fin soup, Karen's favorite. Since Grandma is paying today, let's eat a lot." What? Yay! When I expressed my surprise, Lily burst out laughing, as if she was greatly enjoying herself. Initially, I had thought that it wouldn't be a problem to pay for the meal, considering it was to celebrate Karen's 10th birthday. However, Lily's declaration, as if it was a given even before I offered, took me by surprise. "You're not planning to eat without paying, are you, Olivia? How brazen." "I never had such intention, but you could have at least mentioned the cost beforehand." "What? I told you in advance. Don't blame others for your forgetfulness. It's true what they say about memory loss and old age." The usual exchange of sarcasm made me realize that what I had hoped for was never going to happen. I decided to eat quickly and leave. As I was about to enjoy the delicious-looking dishes laid out before me, something happened. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" "What do you mean? I'm just trying to eat." As I reached for one of the expensive-looking dishes, Lily slapped my hand away. Her gesture, like scolding a child for a mistake, made me sweat, wondering if I had done something rude. But seeing me flustered, Lily laughed mockingly and said something outrageous. "Today, Olivia, you're just the wallet, so no eating." "What?" "Olivia, did you really think you were invited for Karen's celebration? It's obvious you're here to pay the bill." "That's right, pay up!" "Be grateful we even let you sit at the table. Don't even think about touching the food. It's a joke." Lily and Karen took turns insulting me. Seeing this, Jack turned his face away from me and said nothing. In a situation with no allies, I felt as if my heart was being squeezed. I sighed, unable to find a solution to the relentless harassment. Feeling sick, I even started to think about just going home. Then, as if struck by an idea, Lily dropped a single dumpling onto my empty plate. "Well, can't be helped. I guess you can eat that much." "Ha! Mom, a single dumpling?" "Olivia, that's all for you. You owe $700 for that dumpling." "Grandma, that's so lame." Even Karen, a grade schooler, joined in laughing at me. Their demonic smiles, mother and daughter alike, mocking me, extinguished any affection I had left for my granddaughter. This was the moment I decided to cut ties completely. I didn't feel like celebrating her birthday anymore, but as a severance, it was a small price to pay. "I've had enough. I'll pay the bill and leave first." "What? You're leaving already? Thanks for the meal. Please just leave me alone from now on." I was disappointed in Jack, who wouldn't even make eye contact until the end. No matter what was said, Jack wouldn't reprimand Lily or even Karen. Trying to contain my intense anger, I went to pay the bill. As I approached the cash register, the flustered owner appeared. "Dear customer, I'm sorry, but the course meal is still ongoing. Could you please wait a little longer? I'm sorry, but I need to leave now. Can I just pay the bill first?" "Didn't you like the food?" "No, the dumpling was delicious." "Just the dumpling? Was there something in the other dishes you didn't like?" Apparently, Lily had reserved a course meal, and the owner was puzzled why I was leaving halfway through, so he approached me. Wondering how to explain the situation and feeling foolish to cover for my eldest son's family, I blurted out, "I'm apparently just the wallet." Then someone tapped my shoulder from behind. It was Mary, a friend who had listened to my complaints before. "I saw everything just now. It's much worse than what you told me." "Mary, when did you get here?" "Just before you all arrived. I heard the whole thing." As it happened, Mary was at the same restaurant with her colleagues from work. She happened to see the way my eldest son's family was treating me and hurried to talk to me as I was heading to the register. Seemingly more outraged than me at my son's family's behavior, Mary said, "You don't need to pay," and stopped my hand. "Listen, Olivia, even if it's your grandchild, that behavior is not normal. At her age, she should know better than to treat family that way." But no matter what I say, nobody listens to me, not even my son Jack. "So you're just gonna let them walk all over you?" Mary's words made me realize something. Looking back, my eldest son's family, unconcerned about me, was happily chatting and enjoying their meal. They probably don't even consider me as family anymore. Jack glanced at me for a moment, but quickly averted his eyes as soon as we made eye contact. Seeing such a pitiful attitude, I felt like the person sitting there was not my son. If they don't understand words, then show them with actions. I'll help you. "Thank you, Mary. Can I ask for a little help?" Encouraged by Mary, I felt like I had finally found an ally. The owner, sensing the uneasy situation, nodded at me as if to say he was on my side. "I'm sorry, but I only ate one dumpling." "Understood. Let's do this." Based on our explanation and the owner's decision, I only had to pay for the one dumpling I ate. It felt awkward to put out just a few bills, but the owner smiled, processed the payment, and handed me the receipt. "The rest of the bill will be paid by those who ate. No worries." "Thank you very much." In a situation with no allies, I found unexpected salvation in the kind restaurant owner and my friend. Internally, I felt that this alone was a good enough punishment for them, but after receiving advice from Mary, I wasn't planning to let their divine retribution end there. "I'm sorry, and thank you so much for today." "It's alright. From now on, if they treat you badly, speak up firmly, okay?" "Yes, thank you. Actually, I have another favor to ask, if that's okay." I thanked Mary and made a request before watching her return to the restaurant. Then I headed home, ready to deliver a final blow to my eldest son's family. The next day, when my doorbell rang, I was sure it was Lily. I had anticipated that she would come to complain about the payment from yesterday. Sure enough, the monitor showed Lily glaring at the camera with a furious expression, and I went to the door. "What do you mean, Olivia? Not paying for yesterday's food and drinks? What kind of reasoning is that?" "Food and drinks? What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb. It's about Karen's birthday party yesterday." "That's right! You should at least pay up!" Karen, who came with Lily, was also glaring at me. As the restaurant owner had said, my son's family had to pay for themselves and were in a panic. They hadn't brought their wallets, expecting me to pay. Jack had to run to an ATM at a grocery store. and they were quite embarrassed. Karen, showing her anger, furrowed her brow and yelled at me. Her expression was hardly one you'd direct at a family member. I sighed lightly before facing Lily to talk. I only ate one dumpling yesterday, so I only paid for what I ate. The dumpling cost $700, remember? Oh, maybe you didn't hear it because of your age. With such rude attitudes from a wife and granddaughter, I didn't feel like paying anymore. As I retorted, they became even more heated and started verbally abusing me. What kind of attitude is that? Just because you're Karen's grandmother, do you think you can do anything you want? I don't want a grandma like you. Don't act so high and mighty. Ignoring their own behavior, Lily pointed fingers at me as if I were some kind of villain. Karen, too, acted as though she was a hero delivering justice to evil. Was there really a reason I had to be yelled at like this? I couldn't help but ask out loud, and an astonishing response came back. Hey, why do I have to be treated like this? What don't you like about me? What have I done? You haven't done anything. You know, wives just don't like their mother-in-laws. What do you mean? Just that. This time I thought I'd make you useful as a wallet since I was angry. Stunned by Lily's unexpected words, I was speechless. Then, before I could signal, the door to the next room opened. Mary entered the living room. The moment they saw Mary's face, the two were speechless, their mouths agape. Listening to you all this time? Is that how you treat my friend? What? Miss? Why are you here? Karen was the most flustered by Mary's sudden appearance. That's understandable. Mary still works as a language teacher in a certain classroom and is also the teacher of the language class that Karen attends. When I had spoken to Mary, the situation was so different from Karen's behavior in class that she had trouble believing me. But after yesterday's incident, Mary had become my ally and came to my house today. When Karen said she wished I was her real grandmother, I was so happy. Don't be deceived, miss. This woman made my mom cry before. My friend wouldn't do that. Besides, you just said Mom wasn't mistreated, right? What? But, Mom, Grandma was mean to you, right? Karen seemed to have believed everything Lily told her about me without hearing the details. Lily, apparently not expecting to be overheard, looked panicked. She became visibly nervous, glancing at Karen with a troubled expression. Seeing her mother's behavior, Karen's face rapidly paled. I was speechless at Lily's inability to come up with a better excuse for her actions. Miss, please listen to our side too. Just because she's your friend, it doesn't mean you should take Olivia's side. But I am listening. You just said she wasn't mistreated, didn't you? Well, I couldn't just stay silent when accused like that. Lily, always quick with words, tried to make excuses and win Mary over. But Mary was judging based on the behavior she had witnessed, not on Lily's unsubstantiated claims. With no chance of Mary siding with them, Karen, scolded by her teacher, looked like she was about to cry. Only giving one dumpling and then expecting $700 in payment? That's no way to treat family, is it? But it was my birthday, so it's only natural for Grandma to pay. That's what Mom said. Considering your attitude earlier, those kinds of words wouldn't come out unless you really looked down on someone. You usually speak to your grandmother like that, don't you? Apparently, Karen was very fond of Mary and had never shown the same behavior towards me. Shocked by her favorite teacher's words, Karen seemed deeply affected. Seeing Karen's reaction, Lily, while still glaring at me, was at a loss for words. Complaining to the teacher. How sneaky of you. It wasn't a complaint. I just happened to see what was going on. Well, I won't forgive you. Olivia, don't think you can see your granddaughter again. Fine by me. I'd like to ask the same. Don't involve me anymore. When I retorted, Lily left, pulling Karen's hand and looking resentful. As I watched them leave, I finally let out a sigh of relief. Seeing this, Mary patted my back. After all that, they won't be able to act so arrogantly anymore. Thank you, Mary. Sorry for always relying on you. It's fine, Olivia. They wouldn't listen to you, right? With that attitude, it's no wonder. Mary's cheerful demeanor saved me, and I was able to cut ties with Lily and her family. It's a shame I couldn't say anything to Jack, but I don't expect to hear anything more from Lily. Seeing the usually confident Lily taken aback cleared the frustration I had been carrying. Afterward, apparently Lily and Karen got into an argument because Lily had lied to Karen about me, leading to, "Mom made the teacher dislike me." Karen still couldn't be appeased, and Lily called me to complain. Explain the situation to Mary. Is it okay for Karen to stop going to her language class? What's there to explain? Mary saw everything for herself. What more is there to say? If you admit to harassing me, then my story won't be a lie. You could at least agree with me on that. No way. That's your responsibility. You should sincerely apologize to Karen. Lily called me several times, but since she told me to stay away, I stopped answering. Jack also called, confused about which side to take between Lily and Karen. Disgusted with his indecisive attitude, I echoed the words once said to me, "Handle your own problems." Karen continues to attend Mary's class and has become much quieter since being scolded that day. Well, she was too energetic before, so maybe this is just right for her now, as a sign of reflection. I hope so. Don't worry about it, Olivia. As a teacher, I'll keep an eye on her. Thank you. I owe you so much, Mary. Don't mention it. We're friends, after all. Mary said this nonchalantly. Please, don't worry about it. I couldn't help but feel grateful to Mary. Next time, I plan to go out with Mary and finally enjoy the Chinese meal we missed.
Get out, now! I woke up to my husband screaming. Bleary-eyed, I sat up in bed, glancing around anxiously, thinking something had happened, but everything was silent. Huh? What's going on? Turning around, I saw my husband, who had been shouting, was still in a dream. Could it be sleep talking? My husband Liam often talks in his sleep. This wasn't the first time I've been awakened by his late-night chatter, but today's words were a first, and I couldn't help but let out a wry laugh. What's this about? Get out? Then, as if responding to my words, my husband started to say something shocking. Upon hearing it, I trembled. Could this really be happening? That's how I, a woman who had spent 40 years with her husband until retirement, decided to get a divorce. My name is Vida, and I'm 63 years old. Liam and I have a son, but he moved out 5 years ago after getting married. We finished raising our child without any major incidents, and despite some ups and downs, I thought we were getting along pretty well as a couple. My husband is supposed to retire next month on his birthday. Back when we were in our 50s, we'd laugh and say things like, after retirement, let's move to a rural area in the mountains and try farming. We could ski all winter. Or, it'd be nice to travel around the U.S. in a camper van. But as retirement approached, those kinds of conversations stopped altogether. Of course, I didn't really want to ski all the time at this age, but we're still physically fit, and I thought it'd be nice to travel together. So, I was considering celebrating my husband's retirement by staying at a fancy inn we wouldn't normally go to, and I was in the middle of looking up various places online. But then, get out, now! The words he said in response to my comments after that sleep talk were unbelievable. Emberlyn, my wife, has found out about the affair. It'll be bad if she comes. My soundly sleeping husband was gripping the blanket, groaning and moving his head. Emberlyn? The moment I heard that name, I started shaking with anger. If things go on like this, our plan will be ruined. His sleep talk continued. Is that so? Then I'll really ruin that plan for you. I'd been with him for 40 years, and I thought we were about to start a peaceful new chapter of our lives, but from that day on, I found myself heading in a direction I'd never thought of before: divorce. The next morning, my husband woke up at his usual time and was eating the breakfast I'd prepared for him as if nothing was amiss. You were talking in your sleep more than usual last night. Really, I've been busy with work handovers and such. Maybe I'm stressed. You have to take care of your health to do a good job until the end. Yeah. He seemed to have no recollection of last night. I deliberately spoke to him in a softer tone than usual, and unlike normal, I saw him off at the front door as he left for work. It's unusual for you to see me off. Well, your retirement is coming up soon, so every now and then. Right. I'm off then. I'll be working late today, but I'll be back by the last train. Then you won't need dinner. Yeah. My husband slammed the door shut. I locked the door from the inside and waited a while, making sure his footsteps were fading away. I wonder if he's really working overtime. Now I've got to hurry. I began searching the house for evidence of his affair. When I checked each pocket of my husband's suits in the closet, I found a crumpled piece of paper. I found it, just as I thought. It was clearly a suspicious hotel receipt. He probably paid in cash to avoid leaving a record with a card payment, but it's pointless if he doesn't dispose of it. There were several similar receipts, and the most recent one was dated 2 days ago. He said he was working overtime the day before yesterday, and he didn't come home until midnight. Since hearing his sleep talk last night, I was prepared for the infidelity, but when the evidence actually surfaced, I found myself crying without realizing it, shaking by the reality. Why, you said you'd broken up. I believed that. The truth is, my husband had cheated once before, 10 years ago. I'm sorry, it was just a momentary lapse of judgment. Madam, we will never meet again. Please forgive us. When their affair was exposed, they apologized, prostrating themselves. Emberlyn, the woman he was cheating with, was a decade younger and a subordinate at work. Apparently, my husband had started to sympathize with Emberlyn, who was struggling with a divorce and raising a child, and while he was consulting with her, they somehow ended up in such a relationship. The affair came to light when my sister happened to see the two of them arm in arm, disappearing into a hotel district. Soon after, I heard that Emberlyn had quit her job and returned to the countryside, so I believed that their relationship had ended. Of course, there was a lingering resentment deep in my heart. However, at that time, our son, a senior in college, was job hunting, and I was worried that our divorce might affect him, so I endured it. There was also a part of me that was completely reassured that this man, who had been with me all this time, couldn't seriously abandon me. And I kept telling myself that we could start over from now on. So, you've been deceiving me for 10 years since then? My hand clutching the hotel receipt trembled violently. I will never forgive this. It's not just a divorce. Remember that. When I searched through his bag and drawers, I found brochures of inns I'd never been to and aquarium tickets, but they didn't prove that Emberlyn was the other woman. Oh, right. I pulled out a laptop that had been stored away in the closet. It was something my husband had bought a few years ago with the intention of starting a side business. However, after a while, he only played games on it, and once he realized that he could do that just fine on his phone, he stopped using it altogether. I'd borrowed it a few times, so I knew the password. As expected, the computer started up easily, and I opened up my husband's emails. Because he uses a free email service and had it set up so that he could check his emails from both his phone and his computer, I figured I could still see the contents of their exchanges, even though he doesn't use the computer anymore. Once I retire, I'll leave my wife and we can live together. Shockingly, that was what was indeed written in the emails he had sent. I've told my wife that I won't get much retirement money due to the recession, and she completely bought it, so let's use that money to buy an apartment. My husband works at a major company, and a few years ago he happily said, "It seems like I'll get more than $260,000 for my retirement money." That reminded me of how he recently started saying something different. "The company's performance is deteriorating, and it seems like I won't get much retirement money." So, how much will you get? Maybe around $60,000 at best. It wasn't his fault the company was doing poorly, and when he told me this with a dejected look on his face, I couldn't say anything more at the time. We have some savings, and adding our 2 pensions together, wouldn't we be able to manage somehow? Ever since that day, I spent my days looking at the household accounts and punching numbers into a calculator. After my husband's retirement, we planned to go to the movies and eat out once a month, take a few trips a year, and so on. If we pared back our envisioned post-retirement life a bit, well, quite a bit, we'd probably be able to manage. I'll try to get more hours at my part-time job. I feel bad, but I guess my husband will have to work part-time while he's still healthy. What was all that worrying for? Does your wife really have no idea about us? Even if she finds out, she'll forgive me if I apologize. It was the same 10 years ago. She believes we completely broke up then, so it's fine. Ha 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 ha. The email was filled with words that seemed to mock me. I'll get $260,000 as retirement money, but I told my wife I'd only get $60,000. So when we divorce, I'll just give her half of that, $30,000. $30,000 should be more than enough for your wife. On the day of my retirement, I'll hand her the divorce papers. Then we can start our new life in the apartment we bought yesterday. Seeing a heart symbol in the email of my soon-to-be 65-year-old husband made me feel sick. An apartment they bought yesterday? When I checked my husband's bank account online, I saw a transfer of $50,000 to a real estate agent the day before the email was sent, and there was hardly any money left. An already completed love nest? I'm astounded. My anger gradually turned into emptiness, and my mind began to clear. I'll grant your wish and divorce you, and I'll do it in a way that benefits me as much as possible. I continued to use the internet to search various things about divorce. Ah, I see. I can also get consolation money from the mistress. It seemed that the affair from 10 years ago was past its statute of limitations, but if it had continued since then, that's a different story. Come to think of it, I have it. I rummaged through the closet and pulled out the diary I had written 10 years ago. I turned the pages and found a piece of paper I had inserted at the date when the affair was exposed. Just as I thought. After glancing through the contents and grinning, I immediately called the law firm I had been researching online. I was determined to accomplish everything without him noticing by his birthday, which is also his retirement date. A few days later, my husband came home unusually early and looked around the room. It seems like a lot of stuff is missing lately. I've been throwing out things we don't need. It's quite the trend now. I had already decided where to move after the divorce and had been gradually moving my stuff. I was inwardly panicked, thinking he might have noticed, but my husband, who seemed to have lost interest in me, didn't seem to understand anything. Hey, my mother wants to rebuild her house, so I've decided to help her with our savings. What? Of course, I've given all my savings to my mother. It can't be helped if it's still not enough. But we have our future life to consider, too. You're working part-time, so it should be fine. But then we'll have almost no savings left. It's okay, we'll get $60,000 as retirement money. He's probably trying to decrease our shared property to minimize the amount he has to give me. But I never thought he would resort to such a petty tactic. Well, I was planning to take you to a fancy hot spring inn to celebrate your retirement. Huh? I don't need that. Why not? Well, it's pointless to travel with you at this point. I didn't miss the momentary look of discomfort on my husband's face. Of course, he wouldn't think of going on a trip with me, whom he plans to hand divorce papers to on his retirement day. After retiring, I was thinking about doing various things like traveling around just the two of us, skiing and so on. You know, it's what you were talking about before. As I deliberately spoke in a bright voice, my husband became even more sullen. What can you do? Are you saying we should live in luxury while my mother has to endure hardship? That's not what I'm saying. I just wanted to enjoy a peaceful time together after your retirement. My husband grimaced and fell silent. Up until recently, I was serious about that. But guess what? I don't want to go with you anymore either. Too bad. I bitterly muttered to myself inside my heart. Then came my husband's retirement day. I prepared a feast on the table and set off a cracker as soon as my husband walked into the room. In contrast to my beaming smile, my husband had a cold, mask-like expression on his face. Congratulations on your retirement. Let's get divorced. What? You're kidding. Having simulated this moment over and over in my head, I dramatically feigned shock and began to sob like an actress. I'm sorry, I'll give you half of the $60,000 retirement allowance as a property settlement, so please forgive me. We don't have any other shared property. No, I don't want a divorce. I'm sorry. With that, my husband left the house. All that was left was a divorce paper with my husband's name already filled in. Well then, on to the next plan. As I promptly filled in my name on the divorce paper, I raised a toast and ate the feast alone. The next day, I was standing in front of a luxury apartment that my husband had reportedly bought with another woman. When I pressed the room number at the entrance, a woman's voice responded. You're Emberlyn, right? Liam's wife? Ah! The surprise in her voice was so unexpected that I had to stifle a laugh. Is your husband home? Could we come in? No way! Go home! You two don't have the right to refuse us. Huh? What do you mean? Who do you think the woman with me is? She's a lawyer. What? Would you prefer to discuss this right now or go to court? Through the monitor, my husband Liam appears, and the two of them are having some sort of discussion. Do you want us to come in or continue talking here at the entrance? If we keep this up, all the neighbors will know about your wrongdoings. Are you okay with that? Fine, come in. And so I stormed into the love nest of my foolish husband and his mistress, accompanied by a lawyer. Once inside, my husband bombarded me with questions like, How did you find out? And, How did you investigate this place? But I ignored them all. Then the lawyer next to me presented a divorce agreement to the two of them. Property division, $195,000. Consolation money, $195,000. A total of $390,000. What the hell is this? Seeing the contents, Liam and Emberlyn were left with their mouths agape. There's no way we have that much money. Why not? Retirement payment of $260,000, $80,000 given to your mom, and $50,000 for the down payment on this apartment. If you add it all up, it's exactly $390,000. Please pay promptly. I told you my company's retirement payment was only $60,000. It's too bad you tried to trick me. The lawyer has already contacted the company and investigated. All of this is shared marital property. The lawyer next to me nodded in agreement. Emberlyn, we're also asking you for $50,000 in consolation money. I don't have money either. If you don't have money, you can't pay. Please forgive me, I'm begging you. Suddenly, my husband knelt down in apology, and Emberlyn did the same next to him. Do you think if you apologize to me, I'll forgive you that easily? Don't underestimate me. What do you think I've been doing for the past 40 years supporting you? The two of them, who had been looking down, hesitantly looked up at my unexpected ferocity. Do you want to sign the divorce agreement here and now, or do you want to go to a court case you have no chance of winning? I'll let you choose. Going to court would be a hassle. It would take both time and money, but this consolation payment is outrageous. That's right, it's absurd. Oh, have you forgotten? I pulled out a sheet of paper from my bag. Pledge. We will never meet again. If we break this promise, we will accept any demands. It was that one piece of paper that had been tucked into my diary from 10 years ago. During the first affair scandal, I had made it in a rush and had them both sign it. It says here you'll do anything. This kind of thing is invalid now. That's right. Then let's go to court. Well, Right, you haven't received your retirement money yet. If we're going to court, I'll make sure to contact the company so you can't spend the money freely. My husband was silent for a while, looking down, but after a moment he muttered, "Understood," and raised his head. "Good, now sign this." "But $195,000 for consolation money, that's just too much. Even I could see that." "It's just over $4,850 per year for the 40 years I've supported you." "You're saying even that's too much?" "I don't want to equate our 40 years of marriage to money, but if I don't say this much, I'm sure he wouldn't understand. Truth be told, the lawyer also said this amount was too high, but during the creation of the agreement, I was told I could ask for whatever I wanted, so I pushed for it." "But can't you reduce the amount a bit? I need to live after this, and there's the mortgage for this apartment." "If that's the case, why not sell the apartment? Of course, if you sell it now, it'll be a lot cheaper than the original price, so it'll be a loss." "That's what I'm saying, so understand, please." "Don't start acting sweet now. The only thing I understand is that you two will live a miserable life because you'll have no money." After saying what I wanted to say, I left the rest to the lawyer and left the room. In the end, the consolation money was reduced to $80,000. Still, they couldn't afford the mortgage and had to put the apartment up for sale, but they couldn't get the price they wanted and ended up in heavy debt. My ex-husband had no choice but to start working day labor jobs, and Emberlyn started working at a bar. Even then, they didn't have enough money to live and were constantly fighting. I never thought I would start living alone at this age, but being able to use my time freely now is very comfortable. Lately, I've been into traveling all over the place by myself, and I'm planning to go abroad in the future. There's still plenty of life left to enjoy.